Welcome to Dance Studio Owner Life Coaching. I'm Ginger Haithcox, and today I am talking with Laura Malosiecki, one of my one on one coaching clients, and I had to share her story. Like so many other studio owners, and maybe even you, she had a thriving studio and she was tired, exhausted, and feeling like something had to give. I hope today's story inspires you to think about what is possible with owning a dance business. Now, let's get straight to the interview. Laura, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Ginger. My name is Laura Malosiecki. I'm the owner and director of Dance Your Dreams Studio of Dance. This season, we're celebrating our 15th season, and we have worked very hard creating the community around us and within our studio. I started dancing when I was 2 years old, and it just became my passion and purpose in life. So I'm very proud to be able to continue to share my love for dance with this new generation of kids and getting to do what I love every single day, and now getting to level up all the time with Ginger and all the coaching that I've been getting from you.
I'm so excited for you because I think you already had something that was great, right? You had a great product, but there was just some things on the ownership side where there were some challenges. So, can you describe what led you to coaching and had you already tried anything else before we started working together?
I had done some things online, some, you come across those different one day workshops or courses just to pop into, and they were great for some starting some ideas, getting some things to spark, but that was really all I ever got to. It was a list of ideas, and I never really knew how to implement them or do anything more with it. So then it just made me feel a little bit, I'm not even sure the right word, but a little bit more isolated as I kept trying to navigate through this growing business of mine. Um, I think as my studio continued to grow, I didn't know how to adapt and grow with it as quickly as I needed to. And I came across an opportunity for coaching with you, and I said, I think I should try it. The worst thing that happens is I'm still where I'm at, and I don't think I'm in a bad place, but that's fine. And the best thing that can happen is I start to grow and I start to figure out what's going on. So, what's the harm? And I wanted to give it a good shot, and I knew that if I was going to give it a good shot, I had to be all in as well. I had to be ready to do the work and accept advice and work through what needed to happen to be able to get my business to grow and get to the next level. And so I think the past several months of working with my business coach have really led me to open up my eyes and kind of see what else needs to go on within my studio to keep growing and progressing in the direction that I think we're heading.
Yeah. What were some of the early on, like what were your early wins, early successes that you started to experience? Like, what are some of those changes that you started early on?
I think very early, just starting to come into my own, starting to gain a little bit of confidence in how I handled everything from talking with parents, talking with my staff. Um, and also part of what came with that confidence was trusting my staff more. Um, I knew I had a great staff, but I was always afraid of putting too much on them. And one thing that I learned pretty quickly in my business coaching is they wanted to be trusted. As I started to talk with them more after having different meetings with you and brainstorming ideas, then I would take that to my staff, and hearing what they had to say really made me feel like they wanted more. They wanted to be a part of more, to have more responsibilities, to feel more connected, and to feel really like they belonged. And that was something I think that was missing. So as soon as I was able to unlock that with my staff, that that just then opened us up for even more possibilities to continue to grow together. And that was a huge win pretty early on because now I feel like with my staff, we're just conquering all kinds of things all the time. And every day there's something new and something more to talk about and be proud of. And I think I was holding us back from some of that. So gaining a little bit of confidence with myself and then in turn in my staff really made a huge difference in my leadership and my studio as a whole.
You mentioned kind of just having those conversations with your staff and realizing what they were actually craving to be trusted more. What are some things that they are handling that you were kind of nervous about? Because a lot of studio owners are like, I don't want to delegate, or they see a new idea and they're like, well, I don't have time for that. But you're kind of doing something different, right? If you have a new idea, it's not that, oh, Miss Laura's doing it. You're using your team. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So some things I've implemented a lead teacher, and she handles basically everything with my teaching staff. She helps to coordinate any substitute teachers that may be needed. She's aware of what's going on in the classrooms. If we would, for any reason, have to shuffle classes around for a night, she helps to make sure that that's all coordinated. She's a go-to for uh, discussing lesson plans and ideas in classes for our competition team. Um, and she's really come into her own as well as she just takes a little bit more of a leadership role within our teaching staff. I clarified the roles of my two administrative staff members um, and really worked through a, with them a list of the tasks that they do and how to organize that the best that we can, and let them add to it all the time so that I know what's going on with their tasks, their to-do lists that are weekly, monthly, even daily, um, and got their ideas on how we can better delegate the work between us. Doing that allowed me too to see how much I'm still doing and how much they were willing to do more. They said, "Oh, why are you still doing that? We'll take over doing that." Um, and so we were able to work through different ways to get the workload distributed between all of our staff. I also added within my teaching staff, I added a competition director, and she is able to help take a lot of that off of me. We still work very closely together, but I go to her for helping us pick competitions and helping us make sure what routines are going to be ready for what competitions, um, helping to organize costumes, and also just keep track of how all the routines are going, how they're being cleaned. At rehearsals, getting those schedules made, really sitting down with my staff and saying, hey, here's all the things that we do all the time. Who wants in? Who wants to do more? Who's interested in adding to this? Um, and that just helped us create a better delegation list to everyone and make everybody feel confident in what they were doing. They were able to take things that they felt really good about, and I've been doing still a lot, but less because they're just such a strong team of people.
Has your teaching workload changed in the last 8 months?
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. I have probably cut my classes taught in half since last year. Um, Ideally, my goal is to still get a little less. I'd never want to stop teaching, but working with my teachers and talking about their goals and what they want for their teaching allowed me to take a big step back and do a little less teaching, which it's still a passion of mine, so I don't want to stop doing it, but having the ability to work on the business more instead of in the business makes me feel a little calmer. It makes me feel a little more organized, that I'm not juggling trying to run a business and trying to organize all my lesson plans and get everything ready for that. There's a lot more time for me. So my teachers just were able to tell me more about what they wanted and what they wanted to do, and that made a huge difference on my teaching load and the training that they were willing to do to be more prepared. And it was all things that I was afraid to have the conversation about previously before starting my business coaching. Um, Getting that confidence to go right to them and talk about what their dreams and aspirations were for their dance teaching career really made a huge difference. And so I was able to take a big step back from last season, where I was teaching probably 20 hours a week, to this season teaching about 10 hours a week. And that is a huge relief for me as well. So yeah, a big difference since I started my business coaching in my teaching.
Do you have days off? That's what everybody wants to know. Do you have time off to yourself?
The big question, yes, yes, I have time off and I don't feel guilty about it. I love that I get to have a night off with my husband and be at home. And sometimes it's still a little odd, just sitting at home on a Tuesday night. But yes, I know that my staff can handle it. And I have a lot more confidence in myself to know that they can handle it. And so I have 2 days off a week. Now, my studio really primarily runs Monday through Thursday. So 2 days off a week is huge for my 4 day a week schedule.
Yeah.
Um, and I I love the time for myself, for my husband and myself, and being able to take a little bit of a break has also allowed me to refresh and reset and be ready to go for the next day.
Yeah.
And so finding that time off, I didn't know how needed it was to actually truly find that time off.
Yeah. Yeah. I was saying to someone else the other day, I said, you know what? You are going to operate at your best when you are a well rested, well fed woman and you're just like taken care of by yourself, um, to just take care of your most basic needs. And it's so easy to forget that. So, we all know there's some common mindsets in our industry. Like, we are so good at all kinds of things, like joking, like, what the heck is a retirement account? Or, um, well, I have to do this, or the parents are always like that. There's all kinds of mindsets and stuff. Are there any things that you noticed that you felt like, well, this is just the way it is, but now you understand what's actually possible and what are the facts around those things?
I think one of the biggest things that I have come to realization about is it's my business and I know that, and I think for me, I thought nobody else can be involved. That
Mm,
was I have to always be on the grind because it's my business, and who else will care for it the same way that I am? And how can it grow if I'm not there? How can it be? Who is going to talk to the parents? Who is going to be there for the kids? Who's going to clean the bathrooms? I was truly in this mindset, and I think it's a very common mindset that it can't operate without you there.
yeah,
And what I've come to realization about and learned is it operates very well without me there because of the things that I've done, that I have worked very hard for. There are people who care equally about my studio that work for me and they want to see us thrive and continue to grow. And I my staff loves my studio and what I've created. So even if I am not there, all of those things that I have worked really hard for are still very prevalent. And that is what I wanted. I wanted to have some time off or whatever the case may be able to step away. Um, and the place is still running. It is still working and the kids are coming in and they're happy and they're leaving happy and my staff is doing everything that I would have done and that's what I've always wanted. But I think that's a very common mindset that it can't happen if you aren't there. And with the right systems in place and having some things, even for myself, my staff and I have worked through a lot of typing out of procedures, different things, and just kind of standardizing how a general night would go at the dance studio. And while there's always deviations to how a night will go, that made a huge difference. And everything just flows now. I I have learned that I don't have to be there because I have done all the right things to help it continue to operate. And we don't have to be stuck in that mindset because as long as you're taking the steps to make it happen, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that is a huge thing for my studio.
Okay, so I know people are going to ask this. Yeah, but I bet she has this stuff on her phone so she can see what's going on at the studio. Or she's probably still got this thing she's checking uh her app for, communication. Do you still do that when
I
you're
do
at home?
not. I do not. A few months ago, I got married, and a big thing for me was I'm going on my honeymoon, and gosh darn it, I do not want to see an email from a parent. I don't want to receive a text message about how do I enroll? I don't want to see any of it. And so I thought, I'm turning it off. I didn't remove the apps completely from my phone, but I turned off every single notification for anything related to my studio. And I thought I will absolutely get through this week. I'm enjoying my honeymoon. I will be perfectly fine. And then when I came back, I said, that was really nice. That was quiet. And getting back into life again after a vacation, or in my case, my honeymoon, I I enjoyed waking up in the morning and not immediately seeing all these emails on my phone. I liked throughout the day that if I wanted to go check on our text messages or whatever was coming through, I just opened up my computer and I took a look at it. And if I didn't because I was watching a show on TV or I was cleaning or maybe even out for a walk with my dogs, I didn't have to see it and I didn't have to look at it. And it wasn't jumping in my face from a new notification, what feels like every 30 seconds. And the peace that I felt from that became everything I wanted. I didn't want to lose that again. I didn't want to feel so overwhelmed with the communication from everyone and everything. And so I've left it off. And it is a beautiful, freeing feeling to to not have all of that constantly clogging up my phone. Now, when I get a notification, it's my water app reminding me to drink some water throughout the day, or my mom sending me a silly picture, and that just makes me smile instead of feeling exhausted that yet another email has come through. So anyone feeling that sort of bogged down, just turn it off. Start with a couple days and see how you feel, but turn it off and work towards leaving it off.
Have you noticed a change in your relationship with either your employees or your significant other?
Both, I think. My husband has also recently said to me that my confidence seems to just be continuing to grow in all aspects of our life. Um, we talk about the studio, and he has said the way I talk about it, it he said it sounds like I'm proud. And he knows I've always been proud of myself, but I've never really been able to admit it.
Yeah.
And he feels that I'm really admitting it. I'm accepting that things are great. And it's an exciting piece of my life. It's not something that just feels, my studio isn't something that just feels like a job. It feels like an exciting part of my life to talk about. And so he's noticed my confidence in that, in the way I communicate with other people, in being able, because I have some more free time, being able to try new things and start a hobby, which really is just coloring in my adult coloring book. But it is fun when he comes home and he sees me doing something different than just answering emails. He he likes that I have some interests outside of my studio. With my staff, I the relationship has definitely changed in they also feel the confidence, but I think they just feel so much more comfortable knowing that I want to hear what they have to say. And it's not that I didn't before, I just never knew how to approach the conversation to start getting their opinions. And I always felt um, reserved in how I would approach the conversation with getting their opinions and their feedback on things. Where now they just jump right into my office, plop down on the sofa, and they say, "Okay, how about this, this, and this?" And they are confident, so much more confident in that communication as well. And I believe that's because they're seeing it from me. They're seeing that
Hmm. Yeah.
things are just happening around the studio. So then let's go for it. Let's throw those ideas out. Let's make this happen. Um, and sometimes things are happening before I even know they're happening. And it's such an awesome thing to see that my teachers had these great ideas and they knew they would be great ideas. They felt so confident that it would be a great idea that they're just doing it. They're making it happen. And so getting that, seeing that energy around the studio again because it felt a little lost for a bit. Seeing that energy again is such an amazing feeling. So, getting to really take the time with my staff and feel that connection again, um, getting to have some time off with my husband has definitely just made any relationship flourish more than it already was.
Some of the things that um, you did a price increase on your tuition,
Yes,
and did all your students leave?
they did not.
Okay, that's right. The other thing you did, you created a dashboard. This was your own idea, and I think it's brilliant. What are some of the things that you're tracking on this dashboard that you created?
So many different things.
Okay.
Student numbers, hard student numbers. Every every week we're tracking student numbers. Then we're also tracking unit numbers. So if one dancer takes 3 classes, they're considered those 3 units. So we're tracking those numbers. Um, we're also tracking in with those student numbers how many new enrollments we have each week, how many drops we may have had, and then new leads in general that were created throughout that week so that we can see, are there more peak times that people are looking for classes? Um, we're tracking things around private lessons and who has inquired about them, who's actually taking them. We found that a lot of people had interest in them, and we were really picky. And why not? If they want a private lesson, get them a private lesson. And so tracking those numbers as well. Um, so those numbers are within each of our seasons. We run in a semester base, so we track them every week throughout the semester and then are able to compare them semester to semester, which has helped a lot. And then as I've created this dashboard, so many new numbers have come into play. Tracking ticket sales every week, when our tickets are on sale for recital. That is huge because sometimes it feels like, well, did we sell enough tickets? Well,
Right.
maybe there's a surge right when tickets go on sale and then they kind of trickle and then there's another surge right before. So don't panic because now we're seeing the trends of when those tickets are purchased. Um, we do different events throughout our season that are for the public, for the community to come in, or maybe even just within our studio, but how many attendees we've had for that to know if an event is up or down. So we've added in those numbers. Um, that helps us when we do different events for how much food we might need, or wow, we had so much food left over last year. Why is that? And maybe we can adjust things. Um, we have every day we're just adding, oh, we might want to check this number again next year, or let's add this in. So my weekly dashboard has grown into probably an obscene amount of tabs, but it is so it's just such a great place to culminate all the data
Right.
and be able to reference at any time for so many things. I've even started tracking things with my banking to monitor cash flow, where it's a little bit more in my face and I'm able to track that. And so my dashboard started with just, oh, I want to take a little closer look at student numbers to now there's all sorts of numbers and tabs and everything on there. And I also started it just a private thing for myself. And I opened it up to my admin staff, and they also love it. They love seeing the numbers. They love giving suggestions for what we might want to add to it. So being able to customize and create my own dashboard on just a Google spreadsheet
Yeah.
has it's fun. It's fun to add to. It's fun to see. It's also helped me to be able to take a really big breath at lots of times and not just look at those numbers, but dive deeper into the numbers and become a lot calmer with how things are going.
Yeah, for sure. As we wrap up, would you offer any words of encouragement to fellow studio owners who are honestly feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and kind of broke? And whether it's financially broke or just like, I can't do this anymore. Would you offer any words of encouragement to them?
I would very first tell them that they're not alone.
Yeah.
That unfortunately, that is a very common feeling. And I I thought it was just me in the beginning. I really thought, well, this can't be normal. But unfortunately, it is. And so I don't want anyone to feel alone. If you're feeling that way, I think the first step is reach out, even if it's just to another colleague, another dance studio owner colleague that you may feel comfortable with, and just offer to talk or ask to talk and be reminded that you're not alone in this crazy world that we're in, and this crazy dance world that we have made ourselves a part of. And then take the jump for some business coaching. I I think the possibilities that business coaching has opened for me, it's allowed me to think about myself and reflect on me personally. It's allowed me to feel stronger in my business. Um, Even when I felt like I was failing, because that was a huge feeling for me. I wasn't. I needed to take a step back and look at things, but it was so hard for me to do on my own, and we don't have to do it alone. Um, so reaching out for some business coaching and getting some different ideas, because sometimes we get stuck in these just the mundane of every day and feeling like, well, if we just keep pushing, it will eventually work. But there's so many other options and ways to do it out there. So reaching out for just some help with talking about your business and yourself, because I think we talk a lot about me too in our coaching
Yeah.
sessions. That has allowed me to come out of our meetings. I have my little notebook that I then take a couple minutes to write about myself and recap our meeting. And but don't think that business coaching is out of your reach, because I thought it was out of mine, and it's not. It is the best money I've ever spent. And everything that I'm getting from my business coaching has changed so much in my entire life, not just my dance studio life. And I think as soon as we can say we're not alone and just get a little bit of extra from each other, that's all we really need.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's definitely my best advice.
Thank you. That is really good advice to start with, just reaching out to another studio owner. There's there's so many studio owners that I've befriended over the years.
Yeah,
And it's funny because it seems like on Facebook, everybody's like, how can we help each other? And then in real life, we're like, oh, that's my competitor. Like, I don't want to talk to them.
right.
We get
Right.
like so scared to approach each other. But I mean, of all the studio owners I've ever reached out to just befriend, I mean, sure, it might be weird that random Ginger wants to reach out and be friends, but I've only had one or two people who are like, no, I'm not talking to you. Everybody else were like, oh, thank goodness. Now someone understands what I'm talking about. Because my
Yes.
friends, they work in the public school, or this one's
Right.
a lawyer. They don't know what we're talking about. It's makes such a difference when you talk to someone who's in the same industry for understanding just what we do day to day, because it's so different than other occupations, I think.
It is. It is. And being able to have that person to just take a couple minutes to vent to who truly understands,
Yeah.
it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's something. I know that a lot of us feel, oh, that's our competitor, but we're just the same people doing the
Mhm.
same things, working through the same mud every day. And it is great to have those people who can uh, at least sympathize with you and feel the same pain. And so just start by reaching out to somebody to just say, "Let me tell you about this." And that's huge. So
Yeah.
let's rally each other up instead of fighting against each other.
Absolutely. So if people want to see more about your studio, where can they find you online?
Sure. So my studio is Dance Your Dreams, and our website is www.danceyourdreams.studio. And they can reach out anytime. Our email is office@danceyourdreams.studio. I'd love to connect. I'd love to create this a community, continued community of dance studio owners, and would love to find people who are ready to talk too.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for joining and sharing your story.
Absolutely, Ginger. Thank you.
Hey there. If you're finding value in our podcast and want to dive deeper, I'd love to work with you through my coaching program. Together, we can tackle the challenges of running a dance studio and find your path to peace and profits as a business owner. Visit gingerhaithcox.com/coaching and get started today.